Hey, Monkey Nation. Listen, we've been talking about this for a while now. And if you missed out on the last deal where you got $200 worth of free gear, check out what we've got going on right now. This is over at monkeyworksprep.com. You'll get a 3-month kit and you'll save $200 right now. And that will not last forever. But for every 3-month kit you buy, you get $200 off. And that's a current special that's going. And remember, monkeyworksprep.com. Jump over there and get it now and get that food that you need to get you and your family through the crisis that is coming. It will not last forever. I'm telling you, when you need it, it's going to be hard to get. So don't wait. All right. That is monkeyworksprep.com. And you will be thankful that you did this. God bless. Monkey out. All right. Hey, welcome, folks. Mil-Spec Ops Monkey here. Listen, it's going to be your Sitrep. It is 11:03 a.m. Central Time, coming to you from the great state of Texas. Getting a couple minute late start. I was actually in the chat, not paying attention to the time. And so I apologize for that. But we got a lot to cover today. There is so much stuff going on around the world at breakneck speed. We have 20 days left until summer. And that means if there is going to be a spring offensive, it is going to happen within the next 20 days. Or it's going to be a summer offensive. But we'll keep our eyes closely on it. We're going to talk more about survey flights as well, because there is a lot going on there still. And, you know, what they're up to, I don't know. But I have a feeling that this stuff is tied to the banking stuff in terms of basically controlling everything, you know, command and control if things go south when the banking stuff collapses. So that's just my opinion, but it seems like that could be what we are seeing here. So this is, again, mapping the battlefield. So, all right, let's jump on over here. If you would, please hit that like and subscribe button. It really does help us out tremendously. And if you want to, you know, really support the channel, jump over onto Patreon, become a member. You get a lot of exclusive stuff over there, and there is more of that going to be coming in the weeks and months ahead. In terms of exclusive things. So that will do. Let's jump over here to our board right now where you're kicking it off in Skyglass as always. Again, if you don't have this app, just jump over there to, I mean, AVR Labs is, I'm telling you, this is the wave of the future right here. It's going to be kind of like AI in terms of what it will do for just gathering data out there. It is a different look. And once you get used to it, it is a resource that is, I'm just telling you, it's unmatched. There's nothing out there that even comes close to it. You can look at ADSB Exchange, and I use that exclusively for quite some time, but it is very 1D, really. I mean, you get a top view. You miss a lot of elements in terms of climb outs and altitude changes and, you know, all the other stuff that takes shape. And this thing is just so much more powerful. Like I said, it's an incredible tool. But you can even go in, if you know how to use this thing properly, you can go in and actually watch them destroy the Nord Stream pipeline. So there you have it. Just putting that out there. But we're looking to be roughly around 250. I think I may have pulled some of the the European side of the house in. So 232. We've already taken out the Tex 2s and the T38s, as you can see up here. So that's actually around 83 that are up. Now, let's just strip this down. Let's take a look at the air refuelers that are up currently. 29 over the United States. That's a pretty good elevated number. And for a Friday, that's a good indicator, again, of a higher level of fighters, more than likely, right? Because these guys are, you know, they can't stay up forever. They can fly. The pilots can stay up for a lot longer than the planes can without fuel. So, so there is that. And then also check this little data point out for you. We're going to punch into the H-60s, the Blackhawks, for today. And just notice 27 currently up here across the United States. I'll give you kind of a look there where they are congregating. Looks to be Northeast related. Now, this stuff right here, this is kind of a training area, so I don't put a lot of cred in for that. Probably 4 or 5 of there. But yeah, typically 6 to 8 H-60s up at any given point when we're looking at it. So that is slightly elevated. Now, I have seen it upwards of in the 90s before. So, okay. So there is the look at that. As you can see, altitude-wise, I've got a couple high flyers in there. Most of them are going to be on my watch list. So let's get into the watch list here. Just take a look at what we've got going on today up in the sky. Now, based on this, I'm just going to tell you what we're looking at. These things I'm pointing right now are survey flights. There's 28 survey flights, with the exception of that, which is 2 Intel balloons by what called Habal, Raven Aerostar, and then of course we got our regular mill Intel balloons up. There's probably a sea of these things up at the moment. So now that little B703, that's an air refueler, third party, non-military. It's just a contractor. A little R135, but everything else that you see right there on the screen are survey flights. I'm telling you, man, this government is up to no good. It is not, and you know what? I don't really know what this aircraft is and why I have it on there. It's an A359. I put it in there for some reason, and I have no idea why. But anyway, it's on my watch list. And the interesting thing is it's coming from Taiwan. So if you kind of track over to where that thing came out of, it's kind of a, I don't know, Taiwan. It seems to be a lot of folks. Russian aircraft actually are going in and out of Taiwan. So I don't know what's up with that. But all right, speaking of, let's get into like the big boys here, right? This is the R135. Again, can track an object the size of a soccer ball 300 miles away. What are they doing out over the southern side of California, down off Baja? I have no idea. But we've had some other activity out there. And not seeing, we're going to look at the NOTAMs to see if there are any exercises or danger boxes in that area. And then this supposedly was a historic flight. I don't know why they've been doing this the whole time, but it was kind of on the border looking at Moldova. And if you understand the dynamics to Moldova, they are very, I guess, pro-Russian. So maybe why we're looking at him closely. But check this out, too. This is just a single R135 that popped into Japan. Okay, let's talk surveys. All right, now I'm going to bounce on over here. Nothing really going on down under right now. I failed to grab the data that I needed on down under yesterday for the other flights, but this is your surveys. Perth, still getting a lot of survey activity there. We get down here, even down into Tasmania, which I thought was interesting. Melbourne, Sydney, up here close to Brisbane, actually over Brisbane. Like I said, I don't know for you Aussies whether or not that is an average. If they've been doing it, it just seems like there is a lot of frequency going on. Look at this. You got stuff going on over Denmark now, the Netherlands, right? Netherlands got stuff, Belgium. And then up here north, up here in Turin, near Turin, that general area, north of Italy, a little bit of activity. See some stuff going on now starting up in Barcelona. And then we have stuff going on over in Portugal. And then here, this again over the water. Now this one, the water thing trips me out a little bit because I feel like they're looking at cargo ships and stuff like Club Ks. But notice here, there is a big thing. Obviously, there's some transition. See these long flights where they're moving to a new location? That means they're heading out to do some additional survey flights over new areas, and so thus the transition flying from point A to point B. Notice they're still grabbing data over Texas, Dallas-Fort Worth, over Tucson, Arizona, Southern California, all the way from the border up to South Los Angeles. It's all over Reno. You get up into Washington State, Canada. Yeah, and then again, transitions, these longer lines, that's them going to a new point to start another round of surveys more than likely. Now, just so you know, if you want numbers, 203 survey flights in the last 3 days. We are now over 8,000 survey flights in terms of numbers gathered, okay? This thing's on loop because I'm just going to be talking to it for a minute. But so let that sink in, 8,000 survey flights. The money behind that, and these are aircraft. These aren't, I think there's one helicopter that I have added to my quiver in Texas, and that's it. Everything else, these are little turboprop, twin engine turboprops that are out with this, LiDAR equipment. In my opinion, They're mapping battlefields. And these areas are key. If you look at Sweden and you look at their banking system and how important that system is, it's pretty crucial. Now, if, from what I'm hearing rumbles of, if the U.S. dollar is intentionally collapsed so they can put us onto the digital currency. Now, FedNow, that rolls out in July. But if something happens, the dollar collapses, it's game over, right? Because everybody and their brother is tied to the dollar. And if that happens, then the banking system collapses. You're going to have total chaos. If you map those battlefield, think of it from a command and control perspective, all right? They're going to want to take total control over areas to contain unrest. And so that's everything from comms to supply routes. I mean, anything and everything. They're gonna basically contain the situations and isolate them, and that's why you need this data. LiDAR data, from a military perspective, gives them the ability to, I mean, absolutely look into buildings, pretty much, right? With the LiDAR stuff, it is penetrating. They can see walls and all kinds of different things when it comes to buildings. So, anyway, just a data point for you. But I feel like the countries that we're seeing do this, and the fact that most of it is being done over the United States, tells me that the U.S. is behind it, and it could very well be tied to something with the financial system. Okay. All right, let's move on and get into the news cycle here. Some crazy stuff, but we're going to continue to watch it. But 8,000 survey flights in 80 days, 81 days or something that's a number that is astronomical, given the fact that this isn't the time of year that they would normally do surveys. It's usually in the fall. So, all right, let's get over here. Actually, let me back up. Let's go over here to Flashbang. The dude's got to be just banged up, bruises everywhere, because he is the guy falls. I mean, he takes more trips than people did at Woodstock in the 70s. It's just insane how often this guy takes a dive. And you could see yesterday, if we'll cover some of this in the news, when he takes a fall on the stage up there in front of the Air Force Academy. So it looks like today he's attending an evening parade at the Marine Barracks in D.C., so nothing really big on his docket. So let's get over here and look at this. This is it. Biden's speech hailing NATO strength overshadowed by a serious fall on the stage. Yeah, they basically, I mean, you saw the Secret Service guys just pounce right in there. I'm interested in these shoes that he's wearing. They're kind of strange looking. But notice they have grip. You can't, when these shoes right here, you got to have some rubber grip on the bottom. They may be all nice and you can't use leather because you'll be slipping and sliding. So these guys got to have some kind of rubber grip. But he's just, I don't know, man. It's sad to watch. We constantly pray for confusion in the camp of our enemy. And this guy, I think God is definitely answering some prayers, because his speeches are just completely just jumbled up. Can't speak. He's fallen on the stage. So, all right. God is good. Okay, let's get over here to this side of it. Planned layoffs are up fourfold so far this year. Keep in mind, we are just in month number 6. And not even halfway through the year, and we're fourfold up. It says companies have announced a staggering 417,500 planned layoffs for the first 5 months of 2023, which is pretty big. Most of it in the tech industry, and it is probably due to this new AI rolling out now that is able to do our jobs. It's insane what this technology can do. We're going to talk more about this as well. About the Air Force and trying to use some AI. But this is crazy. And that's probably really what is behind it. I mean, if you look at things like ChatGPT and all the other AI algorithms that are out there that gather data from us, I would imagine that the Mil-Intel balloons have some type of an AI function in terms of disseminating information, because it's just no way you could have somebody at a desk from an analyst perspective scouring all of that. They're going to miss things, and it's just too much data. So got to be some AI behind that aspect too. So anyway, looks like the tech industry is about to take it in the shorts yet again this year. All right. over here to Breitbart. As the Senate votes to approve the debt ceiling bill after defaulting. Yeah. The thing is, sooner or later, you've got to reel it in. You've got to stop it. We're going to default because you can't continue to spend. I mean, you think about having $30 trillion in debt after you've taken 30% from the American people and you still have that amount of debt, and it goes generational. I mean, our grandkids are going to be paying for this for years to come. And they are out of control. And in my opinion, it's, shut them down. And, I don't know, probably not the good time to do it. About to go into war, right? So, but anyway, that's where we are. You can see there was a handful that didn't actually vote for it. Kind of surprising. 36 people in the Senate said no, which is, I don't know what was behind that. But then over here in the House too, 117 in the House said no. So we will see what happens. I imagine there is a bunch of hidden spending in here in order to get that approved. Everybody and their brother probably jumped on it. And I do know there was a 3% increase in military spending tied into this bill. And that doesn't include the black programs, right? So when I say black programs, I'm not talking about the color of someone's skin. I'm talking about programs that basically are off the books. Think of it as black ops, right? Where you have really no checks and balances. It's a blank checkbook. They spend what they need to spend to get a capability put into place. And, it just kind of goes into the, I don't even know what kind of bucket that would be, but nobody has visibility on it because it's all classified. All right. Okay. Let's take a look at our dollar. Looks like it's on the climb out right now. It started out around 103. It was actually up to about 104. I think this is based on news coming from. We go to the month thing. You can see it is month over the month. It's actually on a decent climb. So there's a little bit of strength behind the dollar. That's good from our standpoint, but it's just continue to watch. We got more news to talk about here that I think is going to impact the dollar in the long term. So, all right, West Virginia governor sending National Guard troops down the Texas border. Yeah, that's because they are not wanting all of these people up in their neck of the woods, and that is what is happening. And we get over here to the flights here in just a minute. We'll look at that. It looks like most of it is south of the border today, but there are some continuing internal flights that I think are a little concerning. But nonetheless, hey, in Texas, we will take any help we can get. So just keep them coming. All right. This is why I think the dollar is on its way out, and why I think they're mapping a battlefield, because I think they recognize that the United States is going to be in an upheaval if the dollar collapses. Now, I've heard and watched videos where people were actually talking to Senate committees, and they were talking about the fact that this event would happen on a Friday, late Friday, and that they would work to contain the situation over the weekend. And what it entails, I don't know, but it was actually covered by some former Fox News folks that have probably pretty good cred, in my opinion. They like I said, they are former. So, all right, check us out. 3 new China, Russia, Iran, and Iraq agreements confirm a new oil market order. So Moscow has just signed, Moscow, there's no cows in Moscow, signed 10 new cooperation agreements with Iran for the oil sector alone on 18 May. So 10 new agreements. India is buying oil at record paces from Russia now. So we'll keep an eye on the U.S. Now, the U.S. is the number one exporter of crude oil, so to speak. Let's see what happens to our numbers if they decline or if we continue to see. They look right now, they're on the uptick, but it looks like a lot of folks are starting to change away from the dollar and making these agreements with Moscow. So if that's the case, then you're going to see this whole petro yuan start to kick in, and they'll go away and shift away from the petrodollar, and that will be basically the start of the end. Okay, so all right. Anyway, let's go on over here to this This is going to be your immigration machine. Again, Swift Air. Notice most of the flights, border towns headed southbound, so they are exporting quite a few folks. But then you get them up here in the interior, like this one. Now, this is a regular flight, and I would imagine they are definitely taking people into Greensboro from Ontario, California. So just keep our eye on that piece of it. I have seen some recent drone footage in El Paso of the immigrant camp. You say it enough, you get it right. At Biggs Army Airfield. Now, I've had previous photos from the air that I got my hands on that were probably 2 years ago, and it was a pretty impressive camp at the time. But now these drone footage photos that I'm not going to show them because one, I don't have permission to show them, and two, I don't want to get in trouble. I don't know, but anyway, but these are that camp is pretty impressive, and it is very well organized now. It's definitely grown, and that is one of many all over the country, all over the world. So, all right, that's going to be your immigrant machine. Let's get over here to this piece of it, the Bit Defender, as we look at what's going on. This is our Star Wars map. And let's see who is hitting #1 spot today. Lots of stuff firing off, but it looks like the United States is, as always, numero uno. It's the only platform that I've found the United States to be #1 in on anything so far. So, okay, let's break away from that. Brazil's actually getting dinged pretty well, too. And then, of course, the UK, Canada, Germany. Yes. All right. Our AI-enabled drone went full Terminator in the Air Force test. Now, this is what I was just talking about, this AI. The military has been trying to engage it more frequently, but this thing actually turned on its operators. And it's pretty interesting because this, I'm just going to read this right here, because if this doesn't get your attention into thinking, this is not really good, and this stuff could turn on us at any given point. Imagine you've got AI that's managing all the content that's going on in the world, and all of a sudden it decides to just do a mass release, and everybody gets it. The amount of information we would probably, our jaws would drop at what they're collecting on us. But check this out. Right here, it says that the Air Force operator said, "We trained the system. Hey, don't kill the operator. That's bad. You're going to lose points if you do that." So what does it start doing? It starts destroying the communication tower that the operator uses to communicate with the drone to stop it from killing the target. So this thing actually started taking out the comms tower so that it was not getting any more direction from the ground, and it was going to go do what it needed to do to eliminate the threat. So this is pretty scary stuff. When it comes to AI, and you can see it. There's so much going on out there that is, I mean, it's limitless, and it's pretty doggone scary. So, all right, here we go. Now, I always talk about the fact that we are certainly not doing anything to de-escalate the situation in Ukraine. Here's another example of this. Poland is actually buying 800 additional Hellfire missiles to arm their helicopters. Yeah, they're going to end up eventually being on their Apaches, the AH-64. That's made in Mesa, Arizona by Boeing. And, it's just a sign of what is coming. When Poland starts to do that, they probably expect they're going to be fully engaged in this whole situation here when it goes hot. Because if we look at the map, and we'll do that here in just a second, there's quite a bit. When you talk about the region, well, let's just go over there now. Let's talk. I'm going to pull it up on this because I accidentally closed my NOTAM today. But this is one I want to point out. Look at the fires up here in Canada rolling up into. This is insane. The amount. Got them in Alaska. Just a crazy amount of fires. Don't see any TFRs, although there was one that caught my eye right here at the bottom corner of the brown zone. And I know it's red. I'm not that colorblind. This is the Senior Living Center right in here. This is what we call the brown zone, just because it's the brown zone. All right. This is going to be air shows over here. And then this box right here, secure. Whoa, wait a second here. That's not the right one. Let me zoom in a little further so I get it clean. That was actually the big box. Let's get into the nitty gritty of this TFR. This is a hazards TFR for explosive. So let's hit this. And it's hazards. It's tied to, let's see. Okay, let me just get it down here. It talks about who's in charge of the emergency response. It's on the Potomac, and it is going to be explosive demolition. And that is right here. There's a bridge here. Maybe they're taking out this bridge because they've got another bridge going in. I don't know. I'm not familiar with the 301. But anyway, that is on there for today. So it looks like we got some stuff going to go boom in that general area. And yeah, that's the one thing that caught my eye. Most of these other yellow boxes are going to be air show related. We're kind of getting into that season. This one here too, more than likely. Let me just double check. Yeah, air show. And then let me back up and let's get down here. Space operations. Now let's see if Trump lost his TFR over his residence. Yes, indeed, he did. So that one went away on May 31st. So there is no longer a TFR over Trump. Now let's go over here. We're going to get across the drink because this is what I wanted to mention when we start talking about. I know I don't have the NOTAM thing pulled up right now, but there is, if you look at the general area relative to pro-Russia versus, pro-U.S., there are countries within here. So, for example, Moldova, right? These folks are pro-Russia, all right? You've got Crimea, which is Russia. You get over here into this area, Serbia, Sarajevo, Croatia. We've got actually stuff locked down in here now, right at this moment, because of stuff that's going on. We've got actually the Kentucky National Guard is over here trying to lock down and provide security for the region because things are stirred up. But these folks here still have a lot of, even up into Croatia, a lot of pro-Russian people in the countries, right? You get into Slovakia, same thing. Now, Poland, obviously not. Chechnya, definitely pro-Russian. So this whole region right here could really, really become a very mixed bag of tricks when it goes hot, because you will definitely have Russian separatists as well as pro-Russian groups in those countries that are probably going to go to blows when everything kicks off. Now, you look at here with Belarus, and that pro-Russia, right? Kaliningrad is Russia. And so, again, you get past here, Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia. I don't know. I have a feeling that they are leaning more towards Russia than they would the U.S. But, and then you get up here, this is Russia, right? All of this over on this side next to Finland is Russia. Sweden has yet to join NATO. Of course, they are trying to leverage Sweden into getting in. I don't really know if they want in after their discovery on the Nord Stream piece. So they don't seem to be chomping at the bit to do so. We'll see what happens. But this is an area they've been doing a ton of surveys in, right? As well as up here on this end of Denmark. But if you look at Sweden and you look at their ties into the banking system and in Europe, they are basically the hinge pin. And so that's one to watch, and that could be why we are seeing all of the survey flights over Sweden. All right. Let's back it up. Let's get back into this. All right. This is an interesting data point for you. Russia has lost 2/3 of the tanks in Ukraine. So out of 3,000 that they put in, and that started in February of last year, they deployed 3,000 tanks into Ukraine, and they're saying now they've lost 1,000 of them roughly. The data shows actually a little over that. 1,239 tanks have been completely destroyed, 106 partially damaged. It's some pretty good intel. But when you think about it, 3,000 tanks versus what we have been putting in, which is in the hundreds, in the low hundreds, right? So probably less than 300, if I had to guess, was a total roll-up of tanks that have been pushed into Ukraine. So you've got 300 going up against roughly 2,000. Yeah, that number's not good, and it's not going to end well. You're going to have some air superiority to, be successful in that region. All right, and we know that's not the case because at the end of the day, Russia's still here. It's going to be here. We know it because Ezekiel 38, Gog Magog, that's Russia. They are the leader of the whole campaign. So, all right, Iran says they have successfully tested a hypersonic missile. I'm going to throw a flag on the play right here. I don't buy it. I would say it's complete hogwash because now you're talking to somebody that came off of hypersonic programs from a proposal perspective. So I know a pretty fair amount about the capabilities that are out there. And I'm just going to say this is complete rubbish. I'm not buying it. And they're just, like I said, not buying it. They're saying here that this thing can fly at Mach 12 or 13 and maneuver both in and out of the Earth's atmosphere. Nope. First off, well, Mach 12 and 13, that's 12 and 13 times the speed of sound. Anything over Mach 5 is considered hypersonic, all right? And that is flat out getting it. And I just don't see it. However, you wonder, how could they even have a missile technology or capability? Well, let's go back to the Hill and let's look at October 8th, 2021. Biden lifts sanctions on 2 Iranian missile producers. So if you want to know how these guys are still in the game, now keep in mind, and I'm just going to put it out there, I can't stand Iran, and I'm not pro-Russia, okay? I'm just saying this so you guys know. But again, Ezekiel 38, Iran, Russia, Turkey, they are all fully engaged in the attack against Israel in Ezekiel 38. And so Iran isn't going anywhere, folks. I hate to say that, but they aren't going anywhere. Okay, let's get over here to the flights and start looking at what our government is up to today. Now, Canberra flights, it's a busy Friday. We've got 6 of them on the board. One of them is a 747 coming out of the 33rd Air Base. And which I find interesting name for something. And let's see. Yeah, I mean, they're pretty much all over the place. You can see coming out of Europe. And we get over here to the U.S. They look to be all inbound for the most part into the United States with the exception of one. Notice that you don't really see them up here. Notice you don't see any destinations. That would indicate that most of these right here are probably going to be troop-related movements. So could be coming back. We've got some rotation going. They've been there for a while now. And so we'll probably see some troop rotations happening, getting some fresh boots on the ground, new assignments. Although, if you're getting close to a spring offensive, I can't see them letting people go back. If anything, they're probably bringing them in. So these could be empty. All right, let's get over to Biggs Army Airfield. We do have a little bit of an uptick. I will say this, the Hillwood boys, 737, these guys are going to be kind of like the new Coletta. They're getting in on the DOD movement, if you know what I'm saying. All right. This one here is headed to Jackson, Mississippi from Fort Worth Alliance. Again, it's Perot Field. That is the Hillwood boys. And anyway, because of the fact it's a 737, probably not going to be troop related. I think it's probably immigrant related. So we'll keep our eye on Biggs. But anyway, it looks like they may be taking some folks to Jackson, Mississippi. Just sharing the love here across the United States. All right, over to Dover. We do have one Atlas Air inbound, one Canberra flight inbound, and that one's just coming in. You can see it's up here near the St. John's. But those are the 2 big ones that catch my eye. Down here, another 747-400 coming in from Miami. It's probably empty. That's a pretty big operating location for Atlas Air. And that's who's coming in. And then, of course, from there, Atlas looks to be headed to Ramstein. And now these could be troops. I will tell you, in talking with some folks who have loved ones that are headed over that way, they have pretty much confirmed that, they are using the 747s for carrying troops out too. So, all right. Now, here we are. This is going to be Ramstein. Here's your Atlas Air coming in from Dover Air Force Base and Dover, Delaware. And then here's this one here. Let's see. We get over to this side of it, and let's see if we've got anything. We do have the Air Support Projection Brigade, the French. All right, that's probably a big white airplane if I had to guess. A little Navy logistics bird, C-130, looks like, based on the call sign. And a little camber flight there, 777-200, departing to Baltimore, Washington from Ramstein. And then let's get over here. This is going to be RZE. We're always looking to see if we got any big boys coming inbound. I'm not seeing any. Typically, when we look at this board on a Friday, it's usually 6 to 8 747s coming out of Anchorage, Alaska, and that looks like we're not seeing any. So that's a very good indicator that we are to the stage we need to be for this thing to engage in terms of a spring offensive if and when it happens. All right, now we get down here a little bit. It's a Army Duke 28. It's going to be an Army aircraft, little BE-20, I think. Western Global is in there with an MD-11. It looks like they are headed to Ostend. And then Western, let's see, besides Western, I saw another camber. There's a camber flight right there. Departing, it's a 767 headed up to Nuremberg. So they're just probably moving. That's probably troop movement right there. Okay. And then we get over here. National Cargo actually has 2 up. And so let's back this up. One of them's coming out of the southern end of the Middle East there near the Persian Gulf. And this one up here looks like it came out of Madrid, Spain, but it is, well, I say that. Well, where are you? Yeah, we got one that departed Madrid, but I'm not seeing where it actually went, even if I back up. It's hidden. All right. Let's go over here to this side. Yeah, Western Global here. I don't see anything on the board yet. We do know we've got one that's getting ready to take off. Omni, nothing on the board. This is insane. Typically, we see something. Here's your NATO, got 0. Man, why is everybody on crew rest here? This seems to be not a lot of stuff going on. We get over here to the Brits, and we do have 2 flights that are up, both of them coming out of the UK. And one of them looks to be coming inbound to the United States. Not seeing, oh, there's the other one down here. Looks to be coming out of Cyprus. Yeah, just getting airborne out of Cyprus, looks like. All right, let's take a look at Guantanamo Bay. We don't talk about this very much. I still think, so let's just look at the board. These are normal flights. N-17FA is EIO Air LLC coming out of Raleigh, North Carolina, but this is a Fort Lauderdale flight. It's a regular Tuesday, Friday flight. So it just looks like they've got a little citation in the rotation now. United Airlines coming out of Jacksonville. That's going to be your Legal Eagle Uber. That's because lawyers are back and forth on a pretty frequent basis down there. And then Amerijet coming out of Norfolk. Now, it looks like that's a return. That's a common. We see it. It's a regular flight. Now, I go down here to this. You got United Airlines coming out of Joint Base Andrews. And then it looks like another one. That's the other one that we just saw headed back to different flight number, headed to Jacksonville. So that's just taking your Legal Eagles back and forth. Now, let's go up and just expand the board, see if I've got anything that catches my eye. As we go down the list, all right, Tuesday, Friday, there's a Wednesday flight. Okay, that may just be an extra cargo flight or something coming in. A couple United Airlines. Looks to be normal, but not for a Saturday. That's a little unusual. 29MC. That, yeah, I don't see anything. I mean, these are, let me see who owns that one. That's KACMD LLC. Yeah, notice when they start making these into their own aircraft they take the tail number, make it an LLC. It's just for a P&L. It's profit and loss. That plane is probably dedicated to, some type of government spend, and they do it just to keep the books clean. It's an interesting approach, but I'm not seeing anything on the board right now that actually catches my eye to where I think there's something out of the usual. But the thing I would say, the fact that we've still got so much activity coming and going out of that location, the fact that we've got them coming down from DC pretty frequently, I think this is probably J6 related. I think you probably have some folks from the J6 thing that are at Guantanamo Bay. Of course, every bit of that would be kept very close to the vest. They're probably not going to ever talk about that. So, okay. Well, listen, that's going to do it for our Sitrep today. I know it went a little bit long. I try to hold these to 30 minutes, but there's just so much information to cover. And I will tell you, I barely even scratched the surface when it came to all the information that was provided prior to the show from Gorilla Dub. And it's, you have to pick and choose what you want to grab, but the data is just, it's insane. There's so much stuff going on out there in the world. So definitely a good time to keep that powder dry and stay frosty. No two ways about it, because things, when they go south, they're going to go fast. All right. And we all need to be prepared for that. So at the same time, remember, it's faith over fear. So don't let this stuff eat at you, because ain't nothing we can do to change it. Right. Just put it in God's hands and let him handle it. All right. All right, that's going to do it. You guys stay safe out there, and we'll see you on Monday. God bless. Monkey out. Check out the latest gear and products at monkeywerxus.com.